What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to our third breakdown, the NFC South here, breaking down who got the best value and the best players here to improve their team moving forward. A reminder, please hit that like button, easiest way to support the channel right there. Also, stick around, we got a marathon coming all day today. Going to brunch with my family around 1, but other than that, we're all about these draft grades. Today. Also, no better time to plug. Use promo code FranchiseGuy if you're shopping on SeatGeek, which you should be. You're going to get the best prices and the best seats there anyway, and you'll save $20 the next time you buy seats there. So let's start here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Real quick shout out to all the Bucs fans. I kept mocking you guys corners in the first, second, third round. Said your coverage unit stinks. We need to, readdress the corners here. I don't care if we drafted 2 last year. We have got to get better corners in 2019 when everyone's trying to pass the ball. And you guys said, no way, we double dip at corner. Well, here the Bucs are. They take 3 defensive backs, 2 corners in the first 3 rounds. So the Bucs clearly agreeing with me there that the guys they drafted last year just not cutting it. I do like MJ Stewart, but he's more of a nickel guy, not an elite cover guy. So anyway, we got Devin White here with the 5th pick in the draft. I think we have reached a point where 5 is not too rich for a linebacker, even though we have not seen historically linebackers go this high and or be worth it. But I do think in the modern league with these West Coast offenses, a guy that can run sideline to sideline with the speed of Devin White is certainly worth this pick. My only reason this isn't an A, and this is like a high B+, I just didn't do plus or minus grades unless it's an A+ for these individual grades here. But the reason it's not any higher is because you did, kind of mismanage the cap here, in my opinion. You let Quan Alexander go. I think Quan Alexander is an excellent player. If you're able to re-sign him and then use this pick on like Josh Allen to increase that pass rush, which is also a liability, I think it could have been managed a little better. But I really see why they made this pick, and I think it is a very good first-round pick, just not an elite first-round pick. 2.7, Sean Bunting. This guy is a freak athlete, probably the highest upside outside of Greedy Williams of any corner in this class. Love the pick here. The only reason I didn't give it an A is Greedy Williams was still on the board here at 2.7, and I don't know why people were afraid of him. I think he's going to make the teams that passed on him regret it, but I do think Bunting could really work out here in Tampa Bay, even though they haven't exactly proved the ability to develop corners over the last few years. And this guy is a bit more of a, I don't even know if you would call him a project, but a little more of a risk coming from a low level of competition. But he certainly has the desirable traits, and he dominated in college. So he could be well worth this pick, and I liked it a lot. And obviously, I think corner a need here for the Bucs. And I liked going corner again at 3.18. I don't know if Jamel Dean would have been my pick or not, but a really athletic dude. I did have a 4th round grade on him, so not going to fault them for taking him here, middle of the 3rd. I really like that they are acknowledging the importance of coverage in 2019. They took Devin White, and now they're taking 2 corners. So I'm going to give this pick a B. Then they took Mike Edwards, would not have been my pick. Again, I would have gone with Deontay Thompson out of Alabama. Someone I think we actually mocked at a time to them in the 2nd round. I think he's just a much better player. I can't really justify taking Mike Edwards, who had a 5th to a 6th round grade on. A fine player. They already have some decent safeties here. I don't see him starting this year or potentially ever starting because those guys are younger. So I just wasn't a huge fan of this pick. Could certainly prove me wrong. Then we have the 5th pick in the 4th round, Anthony Nelson. Love this pick. I'm actually stockpiling some information for a tweet of guys that are going to be able to sit and learn from their actual pro comp, and that's going to be Anthony Nelson here. My comparison for him was Carl Nassib, who had a really good year last year here in Tampa Bay. Now that scheme is going to change to more of a 3-4 system here, so maybe have to make a transition to more of an interior 3-4 end. I do like the leverage that Anthony Nelson plays with. So I had a 3rd to a 4th round grade on him. I had him in my sleepers video. This team definitely needs to improve the pass rush. So a little bit of a weird scheme fit in the 3-4 in my opinion. I preferred him as a 4-3 edge, but great value here at a position of need, I'd say, for Tampa Bay. Then they take a kicker in the 5th round. I get it. If he hits, you get a cheap kicker for a 4-year deal. Then we've got the 36th pick in the second round. They take Scott Miller, a wide receiver out of Bowling Green. Did not make my board of 59 wide receivers, but they like him. And then the first pick in the 7th round, they grabbed Terry Beckner Jr. Great value here. I don't know if he's ever going to be an elite guy, but he could certainly, make the team, be a 3rd or 4th rotational interior guy. Has some nice get off and some decent pass rushing skill sets as well. So overall, I thought a really good draft for the Buccaneers. Not like a eye-popping draft, but I thought they got a lot of good players, took players at important positions and positions of need. They went mostly defense, which makes a lot of sense considering this was one of the best offenses last year and one of the worst defenses. So a B+ for the Buccaneers. Next, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Made some noise in the first round. Moved up to get 2 offensive linemen, and I have consistently said that Matt Ryan, while he's a very good one, is a system quarterback. I don't really trust him. If you have a bunch of injuries on offense, if the offensive line can't block for him, if you don't have receivers that can get open, I don't trust him to create offense. He doesn't really have mobility. He doesn't have that elite arm to throw guys open or any of that stuff, but he is a very smart player. You put the right pieces around him, as we've seen, he can play at an MVP level, and that had to start here with getting this offensive line better after losing Ryan Schrader, Alex Mack getting older there and regressing. I really like what Atlanta did, and just the guard position was bad last year and was setting up to be even worse this year. They did sign a couple guys, but the offensive line has a lot of depth now and should no longer be a weakness after they have just totally attacked that position. So the first 2 picks here, Chris Lindstrom at 14 was their guy. I had other guards higher than him, but not that much higher. I think it was a good pick. Maybe it could have moved down and still gotten him, but that's a little nitpicky. Good pick, gets a B. Then they move up and get Caleb McGarry. They did pay a lot to come up here, but I do think he can start at right tackle. He looks just like Ryan Schrader, lengthy dude, gonna plug in there at right tackle. So they get a couple starting linemen to protect their system quarterback. The value might have been lost in doing so, but I do think that was this team's #1 priority. I think it was smart to be that priority, and they got some really good players. So then they don't pick again until the 4th round. They swing for the fences here. Kendall Sheffield. Corner was definitely this team's next biggest need, so I like that they went there with this pick. Now, Sheffield has injury concerns, and his tape was very inconsistent. But one thing he is a freak athlete. He kind of reminds you a little bit of Dante Jackson, who Carolina took on day 2 last year. Just a freak athlete. Didn't necessarily have the best tape, but got to the NFL, got some coaching, and just figured it all out with that athleticism. So there's a chance that you're getting a steal here in Kendall Sheffield. Physical profile of a #1 or a first-round corner and a #1 corner. But a bit of a risk there, but I like that risk here in the 4th round. I thought good value. Then they grab a D lineman, edge type, kind of fits that Michael Bennett role in this Dan Quinn Seattle defense. So a good scheme fit there. John Kaminsky, I get why they made that pick, even though I had a priority free agent grade on him. And then Quadri Allison. I had mocked this team a running back in the 3rd round because I said that I like who they have, but they could really use one more guy, and I prefer to get kind of a bigger bodied dude because I like Ito Smith and what he can do as a bit of a scat back. But Quadri Allison has some size, gives you a 3rd option there in the event of injury, a guy that can convert on short yardage situations. So I gave that pick a B. And then they took Jordan Miller out of Washington, a good athlete, but again, a guy they're going to have to develop, kind of a poor man's Kendall Sheffield. So a fine pick there, a little early for my liking. But then 631, they grabbed Marcus Green, wide receiver out of Louisiana Monroe. Did not make my board of 59 wide receivers, but they saw something in him. Felt they needed to add some depth, so we gave that a C. So overall, just an okay draft, B-. I liked what they did in the first round, but they did pay a heavy price, and I think that was reflected not having 2nd and 3rd round picks. I like the Kendall Sheffield pick. After that, you're really not getting a lot of impacts here, and Sheffield, again, might not be an impact, at least as a rookie. Now we have the Carolina Panthers. Thought they had an excellent draft. Brian Burns kind of fell into their lap. Edge was a consistently mocked position for the Panthers. That turned out to be true. a really nice high upside prospect here falls. Now, I think he's going to be a good rookie. I think he still has a lot of developing to do, gain some weight in a good way, but he's going to have to, learn how to play at that weight. If he had an impactful rookie season, I guess it wouldn't really surprise me, but this guy has a potential to be the best, really edge player since Julius Peppers left the first time. Then I thought they got great value in Greg Little in the second round. Now, most people, and myself included, not terribly surprised to see him fall to the second round, but I think he got a little bit of a bad rap. He was a good player at Ole Miss. He's got really quick feet. I think they're going to kick him into guard where he could potentially be even better. So this Carolina Panthers offensive line, I don't put this lightly. They're setting up to have the best offensive line in the NFL. They have, outside of maybe the Saints and Green Bay, maybe when Balaga's healthy, and I might be forgetting some teams, but potentially the best tackle duo in the NFL. They signed one of the best centers in Matt Paradise. They already had a good right guard, and now Greg Little, if he can be good, you've got a really, really solid physical offensive line there to protect Cam Newton, which was clearly a need for them with that shoulder injury that does have some scary, flashes of Andrew Luck. So they're going to protect him, and then they're going to get a backup quarterback here in Will Grier. I think this is smart because if something happens to Cam Newton, we know he likes to run, and now he has this shoulder injury. Obviously you hope he stays healthy, but you've got a good team here ready to win. You can't trot Taylor Heineke out there anymore. If something happens to Cam Newton, you got to be ready to go. They get an impactful rookie quarterback, potentially the most ready to start quarterback. I would still say it's Dwayne Haskins and Kyler Murray, but Will Grier is a, really vetted quarterback. And in this offense that has a lot of good catch and run options now with DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, I think Will Grier is going to be really, really nice with this offensive line and these wide receivers. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cam can't get healthy or if he gets hurt again, if we start to hear whispers of Will Grier being the future here in Carolina. Now, he doesn't have that super high upside. He's more of like an Andy Dalton, but this is excellent value and a really, really good pick. Close to being a top 10 pick in the draft, and we'll see if it makes the cut because I do plan on making that video on Monday. Then they grab Christian Miller in the middle of the fourth round. Really good value here. I thought he was one of the better guys in a massive cluster of third to fourth round edge rushers. So they get him right in the mix there. Not done addressing edge after they took a potentially more raw prospect in the first round. Miller ready to play, has really nice bend. If Burns and Miller turned into kind of the future edge rush duo here, really wouldn't surprise me. He's got starting potential, really nice get off and bend. And then in my mock draft on about a week ago, I said this team needs a big, powerful running back to take a little bit of load off of Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's the guy here, but he was the only guy, and he was setting up to get about 400 carries. A more slender guy, again, just like Cam, you'd hope he can stay healthy, but you really don't want to rely on that. And Scarlett here in the fifth round, my comparison for him is Alex Collins. Kind of that one-cut power back, going to be great behind this offensive line. I could see him getting 150 carries next year, about 8 touchdowns. I think in a good way, stealing some carries from Christian McCaffrey. So I loved that pick. I thought there was a lot of worse running backs that went ahead of him. And then the 40th pick in the 6th round, they take Dennis Daly, kind of a developmental athletic tackle prospect out of South Carolina. And then Terry Godwin in the 7th round out of Georgia. Another catch and run threat for this offense. And a really good value there. So that pick's going to get a B. So overall, I loved this Panthers draft. We're going to give it an A. You get a potential future star in Burns and filled out some needs in positions that I thought they needed to win this season. I really like this draft. So then we've got the Saints, and you got to start this by remembering that they actually traded their first round pick to move up last year to take Marcus Davenport. That was a pick that I criticized at the time and said that I think they're going to regret not having that pick, and I don't know if Davenport's going to be that impact rookie for a win now move like that You really look for an impact rookie when you make a move like that, and they did not get that from Marcus Davenport. Now, he could still develop, but I did not think he was even worth the 14th pick, let alone trading up for him. So that move, as we sit right now, not looking good. Gets a D, and that is going to have a negative impact on this draft. And then they traded up a future second to get Eric McCoy. This Saints front office is extremely aggressive. They want to, hit this win now window. So they get the replacement here for Max Unger. That center position, very important in that offense. And Eric McCoy was the only, impact starting center really left here that you could trust. So they had to come up and get him. But the cost was a lot. A future second to move up about 10 spots in the second round. That is really steep for me. So I'm not a huge fan of that move for a center that I did have a third to a fourth round grade on. I know Kuiper absolutely loved this guy. He thought he was a lock for the first round, so if he turns out to be a star center, this is going to be fine. Just not a move I would have made myself. And then we got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. This is one of the best picks in the entire draft, if not the best. I love this player. Impactful playmaker in the slot, excellent run defender. I think he's going to start as a slot corner for this team. I know they have Patrick Robinson still, I believe, who had an injury last year, but I think at this point, Gardner-Johnson's just going to be more explosive at that position. So I absolutely love this pick. I had a first to a second round grade on him. This reminds me a lot of Justin Reed falling last year that I thought was the single best pick in last year's draft. So to get this in the fourth round after, kind of mortgaging the earlier days of this draft away, makes up for a lot of things. Then you took Saquon Hampton, a really good safety, in the sixth round. I had a fourth to a fifth round grade on him. I don't know if he's going to be a starter. Maybe that third safety with some range in like dime packages where he can play that center field, can play if you suffer an injury. So a good pick there. You grab Elise Mack in the seventh round. Athletic guy. I didn't see a whole lot in him, so whatever. And then Caden Ellis, a linebacker out of Idaho. So good job getting your starting center. Excellent value in the Gardner-Johnson pick. Hampton, just good value. Don't know how much of an impact he's going to have. The Davenport pick, kind of an eyesore here. Giving up a future second to go up and get McCoy, I don't love. All in all, we're going to go C+ here for the 2019 NFL Draft of the New Orleans Saints. So that's going to do it. Please hit that like button, guys. And we'll see you for the next draft grades video. Cheers, and we'll see you next time.